Big Bethel African Methodist Episcopal Church is known for being the first black church here in our city of Atlanta. What it doesn't always get credit for is its role in shaping the civil rights movement front to back, black education, social change, and even political influence. Atlanta News First Tori Cooper has this generational story.
If you listen closely, you'll hear it. For over a century, Big Bethel AME Church has been lifting up the voice of black people when others tried to silence them.
There wasn't a bigger black health facility in the city of Atlanta.
And for the past 11 years, Pastor John Foster has been a testament to the true power of what ministry can do.
We support a halfway house for men with substance abuse right 2 blocks away. Right behind us is this 180-unit affordable housing complex.
The work didn't start there. You have to turn the page back to the late 1700s, head north to Philadelphia, where former slave Richard Allen was forbidden from praying at St. George's Church. Determined to worship, Allen formed Mother Bethel African Methodist Episcopal Church in Philly. His voice eventually spread all the way to the south, where the first black AME Church of Atlanta, Bethel Tabernacle, would open its doors.
During the 1960s, then Big Bethel was one of the 4 pillar civil rights churches.
The church continued to grow substantially, becoming the Black City Hall for prominent civil rights leaders and politicians to meet. In 1881, the church decided to establish a space for higher learning.
Eventually, we started having some classes.
It would be called Morris Brown College. The HBCU still stands today, but it was born out of the basement of Big Bethel.
I decided that I want to go to Morris Brown College. I couldn't have asked for anything better.
At 100 years old, Brother Charles Moore still remembers his time on campus at Morris Brown College. He majored in business, graduated with honors, and he returned later to run business operations for Morris Brown.
Ended up staying there 15 years.
These walls have borne witness to not only success stories like Brother Moore, but served as a platform for blacks to stand on.
You have everything from the first NAACP conference in the South was held at Big Bethel in 1920.
Political figures like Nelson Mandela, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. are some of the notable names of those who have preached from the pulpit right here. And today, it's still the place where black people can raise their voices.
This area holds just a great amount of pride and history about what God has done through the African American community.
I'm Tori Cooper, Atlanta News First.
For more stories on Black history, scan the QR code on your screen to take you to our website, atlantanewsfirst.com.